The sun was cruel that year. For months, no rain had fallen on the land. The rivers had dried up. The wells were empty. The earth had cracked open, begging for water. In a small African village, hunger ruled every home. Children cried at night with empty stomachs. Mothers looked at their cooking pots and wept because there was nothing to cook. Even the strongest men sat quietly under trees, their eyes full of despair. Among these villagers lived a woman named Amina, a widow, a mother, a woman whose life had already been marked by pain. Her husband, Ibrahim, had died years ago. But before he closed his eyes forever, he had given her a small leather bag. Inside that bag were a handful of seeds. His last words to her were, "Amina, these are not just seeds. They are life. They are the memory of our past and the hope of our future. Protect them. When the world is dark, remember them." For many years, Amina kept that bag, hidden in her clay pot, as if guarding a treasure. But now, in this terrible drought, those seeds became a question of life and death. One evening, the village elders gathered under the baobab tree. The people cried out to them, "We are hungry. There is nothing left. Even the goats are dying. What shall we do?" One man said, "We must eat whatever is left, even the seeds. There is no future if we cannot survive today." Another said, "Yes, a seed is food. What good is planting in dry soil? Nothing will grow. Better to eat now and live another day." Then someone looked at Amina and said aloud, "This widow has seeds. We know it. Her husband gave them to her. Why does she keep them hidden when our children starve?" All eyes turned to her. Some were angry. Some were desperate. Some were full of pity. Amina clutched the bag close to her chest and whispered, "These are not just food. They are life. If we eat them, tomorrow dies with us." The people shouted back, "Foolish woman, do you not see the sky? The heavens are closed. The soil is dead. Planting seeds now is like burying them in a grave. Give them to us." But Amina held her ground. Her heart trembled with fear, but she remembered Ibrahim's words. That night, she sat alone in her small hut. Her little daughter, Fatima, lay beside her, too weak to sleep from hunger. Tears filled Amina's eyes. Should she listen to the people and cook the seeds to feed her child tonight? Or should she trust her husband's words and plant them in this cursed soil? She closed her eyes and prayed, "God of my ancestors, guide me. Do not let my child die. Show me the path of hope." At midnight, while the village slept, Amina rose quietly. She took the bag of seeds in her hands. The moon was bright, and the dry earth stretched out before her like a desert of sorrow. She walked to the edge of her small field. The soil was hard, cracked, and dry. Her hands shook as she dug small holes. With every seed she dropped, she whispered, "Forgive me, my child. Tonight you sleep hungry, but tomorrow may you live full." She pressed the soil back gently, as if covering her husband's memory with love. When the last seed was planted, she knelt on the ground and whispered through tears, "Ibrahim, I have obeyed you. I have trusted your wisdom. Now I leave the rest to the heavens." The night wind blew softly, carrying her words away. Above, the stars shone silently, as if watching over her courage. And so the widow walked back to her hut, her heart heavy with hunger but burning with hope. The morning sun rose over the dry village. The people woke to another day of hunger and thirst. But whispers soon spread. "The widow, Amina, she has planted her seeds in the dead soil." Men laughed bitterly. Women shook their heads in disbelief. Children, too weak to stand, whispered, "Why did she bury food when we are starving?" By midday, a crowd gathered at the edge of Amina's field. The cracked earth stretched before them, silent and dry. There was nothing to see but dust. One man shouted, "Look at her foolishness. While our children cry, she wastes food on a graveyard of soil." Another laughed. "Does she think the heavens will listen only to her? We all pray, yet no rain comes. Who does she think she is?" The chief of the village shook his head slowly and said, "Amina, you are stubborn. You risk your daughter's life for nothing. Those seeds will never grow." But Amina bowed her head and replied, softly, "I do not plant with my eyes. I plant with my faith. The earth remembers. The sky remembers. The past remembers." The people laughed louder and walked away, calling her mad widow. That night, Amina sat at the edge of her small field. Beside her was a clay pot of water, her last. Her daughter, Fatima, too weak to walk, watched from the doorway. Amina dipped her hands into the pot and poured the water gently onto the dry soil. Drop by drop, the ground drank it. "Drink, my children," she whispered to the seeds, "for you carry the hope of tomorrow." The pot soon emptied. Her throat was dry. Her body was weak. But her heart would not break. Days passed. The sun burned hotter. The soil remained dry. The villagers mocked her every time they passed. "Look at the crazy widow," they said. "She feeds the earth while her child starves. If her seeds grow, I will kneel before her hut and call her Queen." One man laughed. But Amina kept watering the soil. With the little, she hid sometimes even with her tears. Then one evening, when the air was heavy and strange, something began to change. The wind shifted. The sky darkened. Clouds, thick and heavy, rolled over the village. Children lifted their heads. Elders stared at the heavens. Thunder rumbled across the sky. A flash of lightning lit the fields. And then, like a blessing from heaven, rain began to fall. But it did not fall everywhere. It fell only on one field, Amina's field. The villagers gasped in shock. "Luck! The widow's field! The rain has chosen her!" They ran to see. The dust turned to mud. The cracks in the ground closed. The buried seeds drank deeply from the heavens. And then green shoots began to rise. Tiny, fragile, but alive. Life had returned to the dead earth. The people stared, their mouths open. Some trembled with fear. "This is witchcraft," one man cried. "No," another whispered. "This is the blessing of her ancestors." Even the chief came, his staff shaking in his hand. He looked at Amina and asked, "Tell us, widow, what secret do you hold? Why does the rain fall only on your land? What power do you carry?" Amina looked at the sky, tears streaming down her face. "I carry no power but faith. These seeds are the memory of the past. My husband's gift. Our ancestors' gift. I only trusted them when all hope was gone." The people fell silent. For the first time they saw that what they had mocked was not foolishness, but courage. As the days passed, Amina's field turned green while the rest of the land remained dry and brown. The shoots grew into tall plants. Golden stalks of grain waved in the wind. The villagers watched with envy and fear. Hunger burned in their stomachs. Whispers spread in every corner. Will she keep it all for herself? Will we die while she lives? By harvest time, Amina's field was the only field alive. The rest of the village had nothing. No food, no seeds, no hope. And so, one by one, they began to walk toward her home. The sun rose over the village once more. But this time, the land looked different. Everywhere was dry and empty, except for one place, Amina's field. Golden stalks of grain waved proudly. In the morning wind, the widow's seeds had grown into a harvest that could feed many mouths. The villagers stood at a distance, staring with hollow eyes. Mothers held their starving children. Fathers hung their heads in shame. The same people who once mocked Amina now whispered among themselves, "Will she help us? Or will she shut her doors and let us die?" That afternoon, a crowd gathered. Outside her small hut, men, women, and children filled the space, their faces thin and desperate. The chief stepped forward, leaning on his staff. His voice was low and heavy with guilt. "Amina, we laughed at you. We called you foolish. We mocked your faith. But now we are dying. We beg. You share with us what you have. Save our children." Amina looked at them for a long moment. She saw the same mouths that once cursed her, the same eyes that once burned with mockery, and for a moment her heart trembled. Why should she share? Why should she feed those who insulted her, those who wanted her seeds for themselves? Her little daughter, Fatima, tugged at her arm and whispered, "Mama, give them food. If we keep it all, we will eat today. But if we share, we will live forever in their hearts." Tears filled Amina's eyes. Her daughter's words echoed the wisdom of her late husband. The blessings of the past are not for one, but for all. Amina rose to her feet. She opened the doors to her small store. Inside were baskets filled with grain, golden and shining like treasure. The villagers gasped. They had not seen food like this in many months. Amina spoke with a steady voice. "Take what you need, not because you mocked me, not because you begged me, but because these seeds were never mine alone. They belong to all of us. They belong to our ancestors, to our children, to the future." One by one, the people stepped forward. Mothers filled their baskets with grain. Children laughed as they held food in their hands. Men bowed their heads in shame and gratitude. Some wept openly, saying, "Forgive us, Amina. We judged you. We doubted you. But your faith has saved us all." As the village feasted that night, the sound of laughter returned after many months of silence. The air smelled of cooking fires once again. For the first time in a long time, hope lived in the village. The chief stood before the people and raised his staff. "Let this day be remembered," he declared. "It was not strength, not wealth, not pride that saved us. It was faith. It was patience. It was the wisdom of the past carried by a widow who believed." The people cheered, "Sankofa! Sankofa!" For they had learned that to honor yesterday is to save tomorrow. That night, Amina sat outside her hut, watching the stars. Her daughter lay asleep beside her, a smile on her face, her stomach finally full. Amina whispered into the wind, "Ibrahim, my love, I have kept your promise. Your seeds have saved us. Your wisdom has lived on. The past has guided the future." The night wind carried her words away, gentle and kind. And somewhere in the silence of the stars, it felt as if her husband was smiling back at her. Like the video, share it with friends, and don't forget to subscribe. For more stories, hit subscribe and turn on the bell only on Sankofa.